Hi, welcome back to Point Serve. This is the first podcast of Cross Point Church in Beckley, West Virginia, and I'm so glad that you chose to be with us this month. And let me take just a few moments to introduce myself. My name is Vondie Cook. I am the lead pastor here at Cross Point Church in Beckley, and I want to share with you just the core reason why this podcast exists. This podcast exists to give practical information for people who God has placed in leadership positions, whether it is in the sacred space or the secular space, in ministry or in the marketplace, where God has called you to serve and to represent Him. We want to be able to give you some practical tools, some practical ways and applications in order to be the best leader that you can be where God has placed you. And that's the reason and the rationale for Point Serve. So today we're going to talk about something that is a little unique, because every one of us have had someone wrong us. Some of us have had people wrong us very deeply, and it hurt deeply. Others have been wronged and people not inviting us to a party or other things that may not cut quite as deeply as some of us have been hurt. But you know what? We also hurt ourselves. There are times that we do things that we don't understand. There are times that we do things that we just really wrestle with. Why did I do that? What was wrong with me? And just as when you wrong someone, the Bible says that you go to them and you ask them to forgive you. And when we wrong ourselves, what do? How do I work with that inside myself? Well, today, to be a better leader, sometimes you have to figure out how to apologize to yourself. Sometimes you have to figure out how to apologize for what you've done to yourself. All of us talk to ourselves. Now, some people will do it out loud, and that's fine. I know that there used to be this idea that if you talk to yourself, you're beginning to go crazy. I don't believe that that is true, because many of us need to talk to ourselves. We process, we think about things, we walk through things in that way. We can also encourage ourselves. We can give ourselves a pep talk. We can do those things out loud when we have that self-talk to ourselves. But some of this self-talk is very negative, especially when we've done something that we're really frustrated with ourselves that we did, that we're really aggravated by something we said, something that we took part in, something that maybe went beyond what we thought it was going to be, and we were there and we didn't like the way we did it and how it affected us. So just as you have apologized to other people, when you do something that really upsets you about you, have you ever written a self-apology to yourself? Have you ever said to yourself, I'm sorry, to yourself for what you did? I would recommend that if there is something that you've done that just has upset you greatly, you foiled on a leadership move, or something just went wrong and you continue to beat yourself up over it, I would encourage you to write yourself an apology. And it needs to go something like this, and I'm going to read it to you. And let's say your name is Beauregard, all right? I don't know very many people named Beauregard, so we'll use that name. Beauregard, I want to tell you that I did wrong. I mean, really wrong. Grossly wrong. Beauregard, I want to tell you how bad I feel about it and how much I regret what I did. I want to tell you that I've learned my lesson. Beauregard, I want to give myself the freedom to be happy again. And, Beauregard, I want to ask you to forgive me and help me make the most of my life in the future. Beauregard, because I believe your apology is sincere, I choose to forgive you. Now, if your name's not Beauregard, you may need to write yourself an apology for some things that you've done. Some things that you're really, truthfully, down deep inside your lowest part, that you're really sorry for. And give it to yourself. And understand the heart that it comes from and how far it goes. Because you see, forgiving yourself is a whole lot like forgiving somebody else. Being willing to forgive yourself is very much like being willing to forgive someone else, because forgiving someone else says that I will choose not to hold that against them anymore. I will make the choice that I'm not going to hold that against that person any longer. I'm going to accept their apology and then begin to move from there forward, building that relationship. Not allowing that offense to be a barrier. You know, we miss sometimes that the offenses we make and the wrongs we do to ourselves and the things that we think we know better about. To forgive ourselves many times is way harder than forgiving somebody else. But if there's something that you need to forgive yourself for, write that out. Ask yourself for an apology. Because here's what it does. It then moves it off of the plate. It moves it away so that you now can focus on moving on. So that you now can focus on not that wall, not that thing, not what that is, but you can move past that. And you can begin to communicate with yourself in a positive way that will help you to move past whatever that wrong was. I mean, at its very root, forgiveness is a choice. And that includes self-forgiveness. That includes you not doing it all right. And even though you feel pain about the wrongdoing, about the struggle that you had, and we wish we hadn't done that stupid thing, whatever that may have been, yet the reality is we have. And just like we apologize to others, we apologize to ourselves. And you know, just like I read to you a self-apology, you may want to write yourself an acceptance of that apology. That self-acceptance. That sounds a little bit like this. Beauregard, the offense you committed has troubled me greatly. It has brought me much inner anxiety. But I've heard our sincere apology, and I value you. Therefore, Beauregard, I choose to forgive you. I will no longer hold this offense against you. I will do everything I can to make your future bright. You can count on my support. Let me say it again, Beauregard, I forgive you. A self-apology and a self-forgiveness will not erase the harm and the pain and the struggles that failure has necessarily done. But what it will do, leader, is it will help you move past that moment. It will help you move past that place of bondage where failure will hold you in its grasp and not let you move forward. It breaks that free, just like your hands being broken loose, and you let it go. Today, if there's something that you need to let go, something you did wrong, and you have held it over your head too long, write yourself an apology to yourself. And then accept that apology and write that to yourself. If you would like the scripts for those apologies, all you have to do is email us at pointserve@beckleycrosspoint.org. We'll send you the template so that you can fill that in yourself. Thank you for tuning in to Point Serve today. Understand that failure doesn't have to be final. Never does. Does not have to define you either. But you can take it, learn from it, forgive yourself, and move on. Thank you for being a part of Point Serve today, a ministry of Cross Point Church in Beckley, West Virginia. Our production engineer is Mike Smith. He's the guy that runs everything, and we are so thankful for all the work that he does. Thank you again for tuning in to Point Serve. Now go lead from a position of forgiveness and freedom.